Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Okello. I am a product designer for the African Talent Company. So a bit of a disclaimer, I am freaking out right now. I've never spoken in front of so many people who I don't know. So take it easy on me today. I have a case study that I started, I think maybe a year ago, but I didn't quite finish it because that time I was a new mom and then handling a full-time job, so I couldn't do it all. So if you're a designer, there's this thing that happens to us where I don't know if it's only me, but I'm hoping it's everyone else. I dream my designs. So I dream them and I'll wake up and sketch. So this one came to me in a dream 1 year ago, and then I didn't quite finish it, but then a few weeks ago, it came back again, this time at 5 in the morning. So I woke up to sketch it and just think about how it would go. So the design or the route I wanted to take was something totally different. But then now when I was doing my research, I put something on Twitter, and then there's a guy named Zach. He reached out to me in my DM and said, I like your concept, but how about you do it this way? So his idea was pretty cool. I am hoping that we'll find that it's the same. So let's start. So I named my case study Pack Spot, for lack of a better word. So these are the tools I used. I used Figma to design, and then I used Google Sheets to create the questionnaire. I used Miro for my empathy map, and I used Adobe Illustrator to do some of the illustrations that I had. So this is a project overview. I really like to tell a story. I don't want to read off of this, so I'm just going to tell it as a story. When you look at Nairobi and the way it is, it's very overcrowded. And I think people prefer to use public means of transport because the likelihood of actually finding a place to park in the CBD, probability of that place being 100% what you would want it to be is very low. So that is where the pain point is. So it's not only private car owners, it's Uber drivers. The current process has a lot of gaps, has a lot of pain points for the users, and City Council helped to a point, but only to a point. So this is what we are trying to see if we can build something that would lessen that burden or make it easy for people to park in the CBD a lot often. So this is just a snippet of how the app looks, but let's continue. So how will ParkSpot help our end users? So I did some research, read a lot of articles, and I found out that an average Nairobi person takes almost 30 minutes just looking for somewhere to park. So we can attribute this to maybe the traffic in the CBD, maybe the overcrowding, maybe. So we'll get to look at what the people that I spoke to said. So I was thinking, so this was the proposed solution for the people that I spoke with. How about we look at an app that everyone gets to use? So when I say everyone, I'm looking at car owners and I'm looking at city council officials. So it's like Uber, but Uber for car owners and Kanjo. I don't know, maybe we'll call it Uber Kanjo. But yeah, that's the vision. So this app is going to allow car owners to find a vacant spot. So while you're looking for that spot, you're able to see how people have reviewed that spot. Because I think when I was speaking to people used to say that CBD, you have to pay, on top of paying for the parking spot, you still have to pay for security. So I think this feature, there's a feature that I added that I think would help this. So the app would also facilitate paperless transactions, would incorporate the commonly used payment methods. I think for now, people use M-Pesa via the USSD. I'm thinking we could increase our borders, use other methods as well. So we also get to look at that. So my design process, part of this design process was tears. I know we joke a lot about it, but tears is a very important part of my design process. You get frustrated, you cry, but then back to the real thing. So you discover, define, ideate, design. So test, I haven't really tested it because I just finished it or I'm still refining it. So I'm hoping that the feedback that I get, I'll be able to refine it even more, than now we can test it. So let's look at the process that I did. I started with research. So I wanted to understand. Now, there's one thing to know what you want to solve, but then it's another thing now to understand, really understand. It's not ignorance, but I've just known about, I know people pay to park, but I really didn't understand how that process would usually go. You get to Twitter, you see people complain that they're fined 2,000 shillings. So, I really didn't understand why that would happen. For me, I thought you'd get to your spot, you park, you pay, you're done. But apparently, still there's that pinpoint, and you're going to be fined if you don't pay. So I used 3 methods. I went online to just do my own research and look at articles that have been written before about parking in Nairobi. I also did a survey. So I put it on Twitter and on LinkedIn, and it had about 70 responses. And then I also wanted to go deeper and now talk to people one-on-one. So I spoke to 20 people. So these 20 people were my colleagues, my friends, and my family. So people who, I looked at people who usually go to the CBD frequently. So those are the people I spoke to because I think they are the end users for me. So these are some of the questions that I asked the interviews. So I asked them how they pay, and I actually found that it's not just M-Pesa. For me, I thought that you just pay with M-Pesa because when I went to the NMS website, that was the option, or via the USSD. And then I asked them if the current parking setup is something that's convenient, what location they struggle with, how better to improve. So I was looking at them giving me more details of their pain point and how they would want this to be solved. So I also asked them what important feature they would love to see on an app if it was something that was implemented. So we'll get to look at, I highlighted some of the things that my interviewees said. I also did a survey. So it had 70 responses. So like I said before, my app had a very different trajectory. Now, when Zach came and told me, you know what, why don't you just focus on the CBD because that's where people feel the pinch. So I had to change part of it. So you'll see some have 70 responses, some have low, because I added a few questions towards the end once the survey had gotten a little bit of traction. So you see, I asked stuff like, how often do you use the NMS parking services? And 57% of the people use it sometimes. I asked them, how easy is it to use the current USSD code that's put in place? And a large number said it's tiresome. Okay, some said it's tiresome, it's neutral, some are neutral. They're neither here or there. So that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at you saying my experience is good. It's easy to use. It's something that I can use easily. And then I asked how frequently do you drive out, because I'm looking for people. If you're going to use this app, you need to be going out a lot of times so that it's something that actually helps you. And then I asked how often do you find a challenge finding a parking spot, and you see a large number says always. So also when you look at you having that challenge, where are you having that challenge? When you look at the responses, CBD has the highest number. So when you look at offices, your employer provides for you an office, a parking spot. Shopping malls, they've provided. I think now this is where I changed my trajectory and just focus on the CBD. So then I asked if there was an app to just guide you to find the nearest parking space, would you use it? A large number said yes. So I thought, you know what, let's get on with this. So when I asked the people, this is the question I added. I asked users, what's the most challenging part about parking in the CBD? And if there was a feature to be implemented, what would be the most important to you? So I think there were now more than 70 responses, because now they had recurring answers. Now that's where I did an empathy map. We'll be able to see down there. So there was inconsistencies in the USSD, because I saw this a lot of times. There was an availability of parking spaces. This is something that it's obvious. Insecurity as well. There's system downtime. This I did not know. There's pricing. Also pricing that came as a shock, because I remember speaking to my my colleague who used to be my boss. So, and then he told me that Kitambo, there was this parking meters. So you would park your car, and then it would start counting down, and then it will now give you a pricing. For me, I thought that there's just an hourly fee that you pay. Apparently, that's really not set. So there's that downside as well. And then there's a long and tiresome payment process. For the payment process, I tried. I don't have a car, but I tried. I thought it was pretty straightforward when you use the web app. Now, not so many people want that hassle. So still a pain point. I'm not trying to invalidate the experiences. Now, I started looking at, if now I was to design an app, what features would be the most important to make these people actually enjoy, or, okay, not enjoy. What feature would make their life easier when they're going to town or looking for a place to park? So there's an ability to contact a city council official. I don't even know if they have a customer care line, but this is something that would be important. So M-Pesa and other payment method integration, real-time data on availability of parking spots, different price options. I'm also thinking that uptown town and downtown town, now the CBD, we're talking Moi Avenue, we're talking Kenyatta Avenue. I'm thinking they have different prices. So that's why people were really quoting this. And security ratings of different parking areas, and then include Google Maps to lead you to the parking spot. So this is just, you guys can look at some of the quotes. I was quoting what the people I interviewed were saying. So they were saying there's never enough parking spots. Find a way to decongest Nairobi, just have designated pickup and drop off points. Like the setup it's not something that addresses the challenges that motorists face. So it's not just car owners, motorists are talking even in general. People are highlighting the parts where they feel like we could do more organizing. So CBD is a place that has a lot of promise, but lacks something. So let's see if we were able to actually solve it. So I did an empathy map from the responses that people gave. So like I said, they were recurring. As much as there were a lot of responses, everyone feels the same pinch. So what are people thinking? People are thinking, where can I park safely? Safety is something, insecurity is, people look at it a lot. How long will it take? Now we all know the traffic in CBD. Can I cancel my booking? How is this going to work? Is it something that is easy? Now the do's, do I search on Google for the reviews? Do I call support to check availability? Are there pros and cons? Are there prices that are different? So all this I was able to find from the responses that people gave. People are relieved at the idea that there might be an app to help solve this. People are maybe happy, unsure of how to feel even, like how does the Nairobi services help you, they're unsure of how it does. So there are those who are unsure. And then there are those who want something reliable, they want cashless payment, they want guaranteed safety. So you see, these are some things that are very recurring. So these are some of the pain points. Yeah, there's time loss, so finding a place to park, security, the car being towed without notice. Now, this is something that we have seen, congestion and overcrowding, same points, same points. So these are my personas. These are actually real people, people that I interviewed. So there's Eunice and there's Washington. So Eunice she works in the CBD. So meaning she commutes daily. And this is a pain point for her. Now imagine commuting daily to the CBD and you have to park and you don't have that place. So maybe let's say your employer doesn't provide, or your building is not the building that has those private parking spots. So her frustration that there are not enough parking spots, lack of visibility, too much interference from parking brokers. Yeah, so you're going to still to pay, and then someone else is going to ask you to add an amount so that they guarantee your car is safe. So her needs, she wants the convenience of not having to drive around. And then just let this app tell me that, you know what, 1 kilometer from where you are, there's a parking spot. Let's look at Washington. Same, the current setup is not something that works for him. So he finds that it's easier if I take a matatu to work instead of driving, because I'm going to spend so much time. The matatu is going to drop me off, I'll find my way. Now, what does he need? He wants an alert on the available free parking areas. He wants an app that will streamline the issue of parking. Alert me if there's an available parking spot. Alert me if there's traffic here. Let's see if I tried my best to do that. Now, complexity analysis. This was very important. I went to the market. I went to Google Play to just look and see if there are any other apps that are similar to what I'm trying to come up with. So I found 3. There's NiPark, Pata Parking, and this is called Parking Finder. So these 3 have something in common. So they are optimized for just private facilities. As much as they also cover the CBD, it's not really the same thing to what I'm trying to do. So they also offer other services. So you'll find like where you're parking, do you want a car wash? Do you want a garage? So at least this enabled me to come up with some unique design solutions. So let's look at them. So you have an option to book. So you choose a vacant spot, and then the app allows you to find a specific location by advanced filters. So as much as you say, I want Moi Avenue, where in Moi Avenue exactly do you want to park? And then there's ease of payment. So payment can be made by verified gateways. So you have Tcash, you have, if that's what works for you, well and good, not just M-Pesa. So there's also rating and reviews. So this enables you to know, is this place, do I have to go and pay someone 50 bob so that I'm guaranteed that my car is safe? And then we have notification. So this is to notify you that your time is running out. I'm going to explain this once we go through the designs. And then now I added an ability to contact, so you can contact a city council officer who is handling that area for assistance. So let's say you've gone Uber Park, you've gone somewhere, and then you come and find your car has been clamped, yet you paid. So, you know, contact is, instead of now going to City Hall, that's a consequence you really don't want to start looking at. And then there's geolocation and Google Map integration. So this is where you've said, okay, I want to go and park at Sawa Mall. I can guarantee you that almost half of us here don't know where Sawa Mall is. So at least that, enabling that Google Map integration to now direct me to until where I want to park. Now these are some of the design solutions that I implemented. So this is the user flow. It is very small, but I think the prototype will do it more justice once we go through it. The app had, how do I put it? 2 users. So there's the car owner, the main user, and the vendor. So the city council person, let's just call them the vendor. So they have their own area, but for them, they don't do a lot of things because they can't really spend time on their app and they have other things to do. So I think most of what they would do here is just to update on where we have some parking spots. So we're going to see how this user flow goes when you get to the prototype. So now starting the design. I'm not someone who knows how, this is something that I usually say, I don't know how to do digital wireframes. I find that sketching is something that I do well, and it makes more sense than the low fidelity digital, because I'm still going to do the hi-fi. So it's lo-fi, I just sketch. So that time when it came to me, I just woke up and this is what I came up with. So we'll be able to look at it. So this is just the color palette that I used, and I used Plus Jakarta. I think it makes designs look very clean. So let's look at the main screens. So the screens are like 40. So I didn't add, these are the screens. They're like, I think 40 screens thereabout. So there's the screen for the main user, who is the car owner, and then there's a screen for the vendor, who is the city council person. So let's look at the main screens. So the main screens, this is where you want, these are the actions, a step-by-step action you take when you want to book for a spot. So when you open the app, you've logged in. It's going on the navbar, we have only 3. We're keeping it very simple. This simplicity thing, I got it from Tim. So this thing Tim used to say, I want users to have as very little taps as possible. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why he would say that. But now when I was prototyping it, is when I got to understand the more taps I do on an app, that's when I get tired and then I drop off. So I tried as much as possible to have very little taps as possible. So down here, we have only 3 things. So you have the home button, the bookings, and your profile. So when you come into the app, sorry, this is what you see. So you enter your destination. So you're coming from here, you're going to Nairobi CBD. It shows you the map of Nairobi CBD. So it's going to narrow down to where exactly are you going to. So Nairobi CBD is very, very big. So you're going, this is where you are. It's pinpointed where you are. So you just select where you want to go. Now, these areas have been highlighted by the city council officers. Now, I wanted to do like those pins that show you where that signify, but I thought that the P works better. Now, when let's say you want to park at Moi Avenue, now this, you open it up, it shows you how many slots are available. Now, Moi Avenue is very big. It's very big. There's Moi Avenue up to, it rolls over up to Kimathi Street. So it's very big and there are a lot of parking spaces. So I highlighted some of the places where you would want to park and now how many spots are available. Now, these spots that are available, it's the city council officer, let's call them the vendor. It's the vendor who is updating it. So I'll be able to explain more once now we do the prototype. Now, the other main screen, once you've selected it here, the other main screen is now the details. Let's say you want to park at Sawa Mall. You've never heard of it. You want to look at what people are saying about Sawa Mall. So this is where I included the ratings and reviews. So you'll open it, you'll find the reviews. If you're pleased, you just click the book space. Now, someone might feel like this is like for those advanced booking private spaces, but I actually wanted this to be like, to represent the streets. So Sawa Mall, we have Sawa Mall on the right side. No, yes, on the right side that face where Zuri buses are. And then we have on the left side where there's Sasa Mall. So you see, I wanted to use this as a street view to show you exactly where you would park. And then now this is where you enter the payment method you want. You continue to now, once you have paid, we have now the Google map helping you navigate to where you want to park. And then now I added an option to extend the time that now let's say you are in the CBD, you wanted to spend an hour, but then you find that your time is spilling over. You have this fear that, oh, okay, I'm going to get fined. My car is going to get clamped. So why don't we remove that option by having an option to extend the parking time? So if you extend the parking time, well and good, your car, now the timer you pay, it calculates, we'll be able to see that on the prototype, and then you're now updated. So this city council comes in, decides to just run your plate, sees that you're up to date, you're good. So this removes that option of, I'm going to get fined. So there's also that option of completing your parking time. Once you complete this vendor gets a notification that you're about to leave, they update that. So you see it's real time. That's what I was looking at. So also in the CBD, we are not just looking at a one-time parking. So we have three. So there's the daily parking, the seasonal parking, and there's the other one. I think I've forgotten the name. But now this is on your bookings, you'll be able to see all the zones that you've ever parked at. Yeah. So these are just the other screens. So let me take you guys through the prototype. Okay, let's start. So this is the splash screen. So when you launch the app, it asks you to select an account. So are you a car owner or are you a vendor? So the main users are the car owners. For the vendors, they have very little screens, up to 5 only. So you're the car owner, you come into your account, and then there's the onboarding part. So for the onboarding part, I wanted to keep it sweet and simple, very short, easy and seamless booking. You have the option to skip or to just read next. Still the same. They both work. You can skip or now you can complete. So when you look at the NMS page and you're going to log in, they ask for very little information. So it's just your ID. Yeah, it's your ID and a password. So for here, I wanted to use a number. I feel like an identification card every time. I don't know, it's very intrusive. So a number is better. So a number and a password, you log in. If you don't have an account, you register. Also for the register part, I guess, use the national ID because you're going to only use it once. So it's your phone number, your ID, your email, your password, that's it. So you can go back to login and then you log in. So I also added a one-time PIN verification. So that has a countdown timer, sorry. So you can verify that or resend, and then now it takes you to the homepage. So the homepage, now I wanted the journey of this user to be as simple as possible. So they come in, they get that prompt to enter your destination. They're here, they're coming here, Nairobi CBD. It gives them now, it highlights, these are the places that have available parking slots. So let's say I am a user, I want to go to park somewhere in Moi Avenue. It will show me in Moi Avenue, there's Samuel, there's Optica. Where do I feel that I want to park? So I feel like Samuel has a lot of spots, so let me go there. And then it shows me some details about Samuel that I did not know that I'm interested in. I decided, let me look at the reviews, see if there's something interesting or there's something that would make me change my mind. Able to go to the reviews and look at what people have said. So that is enough to tell me, okay, I want to park here. I will book a space. So now this is where I'm going to choose where exactly do I want, what street or the exact place where I want to park. So I'm just going to select, maybe I want it here, or I want it here. Book that space, I select a payment option. So you have an option to change it. So let's say I want to go with M-Pesa. I review my details, everything is okay. It's already counted. So you see the system has already counted. I'm going to stay for this amount of time. This is how much I'm going to pay. That's it, you get a confirmation. You navigate to parking. So now this is where we have a catch. So Google is navigating you to where you're going to park. But then now let's say there is traffic imeshikana kabisa. You have an option to cancel, or you can just stay in that place, or if you unajiaminia it's going to move, or the system is going to, because I wanted this to be at a first come, first serve basis. In town, there are a lot of cars that come in. So while you're stuck in traffic, there's someone who is near. So this person who is near, they may need that spot. The system is going to ask, is everything okay? We noticed that you've been stagnant for a while. So you can choose to cancel the booking. You can choose to find another spot. Or if you feel, okay, traffic is going to clear up and I'm going to get there on time, you can still stay on that place until you get to your spot. Now you've reached at your spot, confirmed. Now the timer starts counting down. Now this is where you're talking about, I'm in town, I'm in a meeting, time is running out. I only paid for an hour. I need to extend that parking. So either I can complete my parking time, get my car and go elsewhere, or I can extend my time. So do I extend it an hour? Do I extend it 30 minutes? To be safe, let me do an hour. I pay, it counts the amount, I extend my parking time. That's it. Now it takes you back to the timer, it starts counting down. Once you're done and you complete parking time, it takes a notification to the vendor. Now you've completed and you're about to leave. Open spots available. Now they click on auto update and it comes back to Moi Avenue. You're on Moi Avenue and you're about to leave. Now it auto updates here. So any person who is searching for a place to park will see that, so you see that circle that keeps coming. You update, they update, you update, they update. So that's what I was going for. Let's look at the vendor real quick. So this is the vendor. Their screens are almost similar. So yeah, this is how their screens look. They have the home dashboard and their profile. So they select their zone. So I think from what I have seen, Nairobi, how NMS has, there's a word I'm looking for. There's a way NMS has designated these areas. So they're calling them zones. So you just come in, select the zone that you are working with. So let's say this person is working in the CBD today. So CBD is big and there are many city council officers, or maybe they handle different places. So I'm on Moi Avenue. I'll come to Moi Avenue. The time I log in, I come to Moi Avenue and I start updating. I'm on this street, I'm on this area, there are these available spots, this about to leave, I update. So when I update, it shows on the other part. And that's the only thing that they get to do on the app. So the main person is the car owner, and those are their journeys. So it's still not perfect, but yeah, this is what I came up with, and now I am open to questions or feedback.
Fantastic job, Michelle Okello. I think I'm very impressed by your case study. It's one of the cleanest, sophisticated, and established case studies that I've seen, in the recent past. A great job. We have a few observations in the chart. Okay. The first one is, one, you need to differentiate if a person has booked and paid for parking slot, or if a parking slot is currently on booking mode. I don't know if that is something that you've thought about, or if you'd like to talk more about it right now or later on.
Sorry, if someone?
You need to be able to differentiate in your process,
yes.
In your user journey. You need to be able to differentiate if a person has booked and paid for parking slot, or
Yes.
they've just booked for parking slot. I don't know if you have that feature.
No, you have to book and pay. I was thinking in Nairobi, if we decide to do postpaid, I mean, that's going to be tricky. And then now that's where it's going to come up with a lot of fines. So prepaid, I think in Nairobi, prepaid is the way for us. You pay, I think paying just to show that, what's the word? Commitment that you're actually going there to park your car. So it's prepaid. For you to actually complete that booking journey, you have to pay.
Yeah. Oh, okay, interesting. And then I'm curious. I understand it's Nairobi, but I think the few parking spaces I've seen, all of them are postpaid. So I'm curious to understand. It's a question that came in. What made you opt for the pre-billing option?
Okay, I say this in the nicest way possible. Nairobians are not really the most honest people. I mean, I'll come in, I'll park, I go about my business. Nobody is looking at my car. I can just come in and just drive off and call it a day. Yeah. So, I mean, this honesty was my main motivator for that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. And then there's a question from Maxwell. Maxwell, I don't know if you'd like to ask the question yourself, or should I just read it out? If you're available, please feel free. Speak up.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Maxwell.
I think I was just responding to a question in the chat, but I also had a question as well, and maybe Michelle can answer it as well. I gather that the vendor journey is more like a quality assurance, right?
Yes.
They just confirm if the parking spots are available and what the system does the major part of the job, right?
Yes.
All right, that's the question I had. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Maxwell. At the same time, I think there's a last question on, I don't know if you did research on how KRA handles parking fees, or if there's anyone amongst us who knows more about KRA and parking fees and would like to share. But over to you, Michelle.
No, I did not look at the KRA part. I gathered that since it's government, maybe they handle it directly with government. So yeah, I didn't look at, there's that tax that you already, there's the VAT that you charge while you pay for your parking. So that's where KRA's interference ends on the app.
Yeah, there's a question. Thank you so much, Michelle. There's a question from Kelly Adediha. He asks, can we pre-book a space hours before? And I think the question is yes. It's just that you have to pay for it. Over to you, Michelle.
Hours before is tricky. I mean, your hours away, there's someone who needs it. So I think this just needs to be real time. You're 1 kilometer away, you're 2 kilometers away, and you need a spot. That's the only way it would work, and it would be fair.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So you are going to work with a system like Uber? So you're able to...
Yeah, it's Uber, but Uber for Kanjo. Yes.
Question on how does the system know when the parking is free?
So when you complete, now when you click, your timer has run out or it's not, and you want now to get out of town, there's a button to complete your parking time. Now when you complete parking time, it takes a notification to the vendor. So this notification here, 2 spots have opened, so they auto update. And then when they update, now the numbers ramp up on the other side where you see where it was showing 2 slots available and about to leave. So the Kanjo person updates it and then the system picks it up.
Okay, I think we have a new name for your app, Ubanjo. So I think I like it. I don't know if there's anyone else who has a question from the crowd.
I think Titus has his hand up.
Titus, please go ahead.
Yep, sure. Maybe just something I wanted to comment on was about the parking availability slot. I recently saw an implementation of such a feature in Sarit, and they had these cameras next to the parking slots where whenever it was occupied, when you enter, you'd be able to see whether the parking slots are available or not. So if it was a smart feature, and with this app that has been made, maybe it can now be implemented with that system, so that you'd actually see which parking slot is occupied or not. So if you have been to Sarit, or maybe you could check it out, they use cameras to see which parking slots are open and the ones that are occupied. Thank you.
And would they be willing to do that in the CBD? That's the question.
Okay, that's a great observation. Yeah, because I agree with what Titus has mentioned, in the sense that you need the ability to gather data from the site. So perhaps this is an opportunity for you to think about how you can collaborate with different partners offering the same service. And I think there's also a comment from Maxwell talking about how RFID would be a perfect fit over here. And then also Nyotu, do you want to share more about it? What your comment? Nyotu. Okay, so he just mentioned, okay, I'm not sure. They've written that even at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, they use red lights and green lights to show if a spot is taken. And then at the same time, maybe something to think about this application is you'll be firing people in the process of rolling this out. So you need to know how you're going to face the backlash that's going to come out of, and resistance that's going to come out of you launching the application, because you are solving an actual problem. And then there's a question from Simon Dungo. I think Simon Dungo is going to be our last question. Do you want to ask it in person at Simon?
Yes, I can ask. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so my question is, when does the system register as a parking spot as being occupied? Is it when you get there and you confirm you are there, or when you have paid for that spot?
Interesting. Okay. Okay, I don't think I thought about it. There's two ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you click on, you have arrived at your parking spot, and then you click OK.
Yeah.
You click that should register that it's now occupied, because the vendor has an option to say that there are no available spots, that all are exhausted. So
because
I think that's
okay. I think I noticed that, and that happens, of course, after you have booked the spot, paid for it, and driven your way there. In which case, more than one people can pay for the same spot, and maybe get there and notice they have paid for the same spot. The one who enters first gets to confirm they have arrived?
I think that's an improvement suggestion. Like I said, the app still needs a lot of iteration, so that's something to think about. I would definitely look at how to do that. So like, that is something I missed. Thank you for pointing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I think, okay, while you're Lynette, this is our last comment or question, and then we can call it a day. Over to you, Wayon.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. So, Michelle, mine is a follow-up on Simon's. So, in the same, since we are talking about a virtual app, it's online. My question is about physically coordinating the booking spots that are allotted virtually. So, let's say I booked a spot and I'm 5 minutes away, but then someone else is just 2 minutes away and so the same spot. It doesn't mean that whether they have paid it, or let's say they somehow managed to process it and just like, you see the way we usually like live away and then I get there first. So I'm asking, in case somebody was 5 minutes away and somebody was 3 minutes away, so the 3 minutes away person gets there before the 5 minutes away person. So is there a way to physically, like, since you're talking virtually, it's allocated, that's okay, but physically, is there a way to coordinate between the virtual booking and the physical booking? That way, when someone gets there, you don't find that somebody said, I got here first, so it's my spot. Is there a coordination, or it's just something to think about?
And it is something to think about. I mean, having physical coordination is good. That's why the city council people are there. And that's why they have very little screens. So theirs is just to click update. So I'm thinking maybe they could do that, but it's still open to more discussion on how to actually make it work.
Yeah, that's okay. It's something to be considered. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Lynette. Much appreciation to everyone. Thank you for being a fantastic audience and very engaging. Michelle, I think you've gathered a lot of feedback that you can use to implement your next iteration. I think there's a recommendation from UI UX. You can copyright your case study at a link that has just been shared. I think there's a lot of things coming in. I can't track the charts, but please check the chart on where you can copyright your case study. And then a few announcements. One is we are interested in getting volunteers to help us run UI UX Nairobi. So if you're interested, please feel free to reach out. At the same time, if you have a case study that you'd like to present so that it can be improved on, feel free to reach out as well. Like, we do have our email address on our respective social media accounts, that is on LinkedIn and Twitter. And then the last one is, if you have particular topics that you'd like us to touch on, feel free to share your recommendations. We'd be more than happy to just hear your thoughts on that. Last but not least, this has been recorded. It's on YouTube. So if you came in late, we got you. Just go to our YouTube channel, that is UI UX Nairobi, and that marks the end of our first meeting in 2023. Our next meeting is going to be on the 4th Tuesday of February, that is 21st of February. So looking forward to seeing you then.